I got rid of my Asus ultra-wide monitor, and there's a few reasons to this, and I'll go over them over the course of this video. However, I swapped it out for this LG Nano IPS 27-inch 1440p 144Hz monitor, and to be honest, I haven't looked back. It's a great mid-range 1440p monitor that doesn't break the bank too much. And over the course of this video, I'm going to do more of a user review. I'm not going to get into all the scientific stuff about all the colour gamuts and stuff like that. I will link to a review from Ratings, which will more provide that sort of information. However, this is just going to be a simple user review. I think before I start, I should get into why I switched back to the more conventional 16:9 format, and the main thing was the ultra wide, I believe, was giving me a tiny bit of a headache while I was playing shooters specifically. I narrowed it down to that because when I was playing on my 55-inch TV, it was just fine. I never got any headaches, stuff like that. But it was always when I was playing on my curved ultra wide, I was getting like slight headaches. It was nothing too major, but it was kind of annoying. However, since I've upgraded to my LG monitor, I've never had them problems. The LG monitor is also a lot smaller because you've got less screen real estate to either side. So it takes up a lot less space on my desk, which I'm a big fan of because my room is pretty small. Getting into the LG, I can't quite remember the name if I'm honest, because monitor names these days are just absolutely ridiculous. However, getting into the LG Nano IPS that I have, it's got a 27-inch Nano IPS display, which is very great. The viewing angles are brilliant on this thing, and the colour and the contrast, they can be a bit better, but to be fair, for an IPS, they're not too bad. It's a 1440p panel that runs at 144Hz, and it's got a true 10-bit pixel depth. And what this means is it's got great saturated colours. The colours do look quite good on this under the game mode, which I have it under right now. And it looks really good for games, and it looks really good during content creation. And fun fact, this is the monitor which I'll be editing this video on. It covers 100% of the sRGB colour gamut and up to 98% of the DCI-P3 colour gamut too. So the colour coverage for this is pretty great, and it's perfect for gamers and content creators such as me. It has full G-Sync capability. I've tested this and it works so well. There is still a slight bit of tearing, but it's a damn sight better compared to no G-Sync at all. And this is only available over the DisplayPort, which I do recommend if you're running a GPU which is made within the last sort of 10 years. And for you AMD users, it also has FreeSync as well, which I can't validate how well that works because I don't have an AMD graphics card, but I'm sure it works pretty fine. The design is pretty good. It's an all plastic construction, but it feels like, you know, that quality plastic. It's not like that cheap little snide plastic. It's good plastic, okay? It's very good plastic. It looks quite clean. The monitor chin isn't too big at all, even though it could be a bit smaller, but it's not that much of a problem. The bezels are pretty minimal as well. The user interface on this thing is just incredible. It's so much better than that Lenovo monitor I had before, and it's just a single joystick, I'd like to say, and you can use that to navigate and press and change all your settings and stuff like that. It's an incredible UI. A lot of monitors these days have incredibly trash UIs, but not this monitor. Navigating the menu on this thing is a breeze. In terms of connectivity, it's got one DisplayPort, two HDMIs, and it also has two USB 3.0s for connectivity as well. It also has a 3.5mm headphone jack, but I'd just recommend plugging it into your PC. I don't know why you'd put it through your monitor, unless if that floats your boat, then all the power to you. As I previously mentioned, there's a lot of things I like about this monitor, and the thing I probably like the most is how good the colours look on this thing. The colours look nice and juicy, which is personally how I like my colours to look. I really like how fast the response time is on this thing. That is arguably the biggest improvement over my ultra wide, which was a VA panel, and VA panels are notoriously slow with their response time. They have a lot of black level smearing. However, when set to fast, this monitor, it's just so good. There is hardly any motion blur. It's really good in SDR, which is how I like to play a lot of my games. I did put out a post recently, and a lot of you, it turns out, really don't care about HDR, which, to be fair, I can't blame you for. Personally, I do quite like HDR, but because HDR's implementation in Windows is just so bad, I don't bother with it in Windows. That's what my Xbox is for. The viewing angles, which I previously mentioned, are very good on this thing. I'm looking at it dead on most of the time. However, on the off chance I'm like looking off angle, or like someone's in here like looking at it from a different angle, the colours don't fade, and like, you know, like TN panels, as the colours go a bit weird when you look at it from an off angle. That doesn't really happen on an IPS monitor. And the UI is the best I've used of any monitor. It actually rivals my LG B1 OLED TV, and this seems to be quite a trend with LG. They have really good UIs in their displays. Getting on to what I don't quite like about this monitor, and relatively quickly I did get a dead pixel on the screen, but it's literally 1 pixel. And it's very off center, and even when you're looking at it from some angles you don't really notice, but it's kind of a bummer. I did buy this as a refurb monitor. I did get quite a lot off of it, so yeah, that's why I don't have the Ergo stand, which is a very praised stand from LG. I've just put it on my InVision stand, which is quite a good stand, and it held up my 35-inch ultra wide pretty well, so it holds up this 27-inch pretty well as well. Another thing I don't like is the contrast ratio is pretty poor on this monitor, which isn't too much of a problem, I've noticed, but that tends to make dark scenes look like a very little washed out grey. But it's a damn sight better than my second monitor, which is a TN panel, but it's nowhere near like an OLED. The peak brightness isn't amazing either, but this is only a problem if you're looking to get into HDR, which I never use on this thing, so that's not that much of a problem to me. But if you're looking to get a monitor for HDR, maybe this isn't your monitor. So overall, it's a really good monitor. It serves my needs pretty damn well, because I needed a gaming monitor and a monitor which also holds up quite well in productivity, so this monitor was pretty much a good shout for me. I wish it didn't have a dead pixel, but it's so minor you don't really notice it unless if you're looking for it, and it's that minor that I've really got to search for it, so it's not that much of a problem at all. So if you like this video, like it and stay subscribed for future content, and I'll catch you in the next one.